Welcome back to the Capes and Tights podcast right here on capesandtights.com. I'm your host, Justin Soderberg. This episode is our final episode before Christmas, so why not review a Christmas movie in the form of Batman Returns from 1992 with Michael Keaton, Danny DeVito, Michelle Pfeiffer, and Christopher Walken. Yes, it's a Christmas movie, and Paul Eaton from Galactic Comics is along for the ride to discuss this Christmas movie on this episode of the podcast. So please check it out. We'll discuss all matters of the movie, but also how it is a Christmas movie and what our favorite Christmas movies are, and so on and so forth. But before you do, check us out on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Blue Sky, as well as rate, review, subscribe, listen, do all those things over on Spotify, Apple, all your major podcasting platforms. If you like the video portion of this and you want it to be in your inbox every week, check out YouTube as well for our YouTube channel. But this is Batman Returns movie review for the Christmas season here on Capes and Tights. Merry Christmas, everyone. Merry Christmas. No, sorry. Happy holidays. I'm sorry. It's
happy holidays.
I'm just kidding. Well, it was funny as we were, starting this podcast, but as we were leaving on Wednesday, I kept on saying have a good Thanksgiving instead of happy Thanksgiving, because I do celebrate Christmas. Christmas is when I do say happy Christmas, Merry Christmas, whatever I want to do. But I don't really celebrate Thanksgiving. I don't know if we even said the word Thanksgiving when I was visiting my parents. It was just, we were there. It was time to be there. We hung out. We had food. We had turkey. We had the traditional meal. We had the whatever. But it was just kind of funny. I'm like, it's one of those holidays. I don't know. I feel like you say Happy Halloween a lot because you trick or treat with your kids, or you go places and you say it as you get your candy or things like that. But yeah, Christmas Thanksgiving is one of those ones I just get together with family. I don't know about anything about happy
what else is
Thanksgiving.
really? Yeah, what else is there for Thanksgiving? Really, that is kind of like the whole deal, right?
Turkey, which they didn't.
You could be one of these
originally.
I don't want to say corny because I'm sure there's people that do it, but you can be one of those corny people that go around and say what you're thankful for this year or blah blah blah. But
no, my family doesn't do that because we're not thankful for anything. So no,
I feel it's getting together with families, having your meal, and seeing each other, and
So this is my new
relatives that you'll see next year at Thanksgiving again.
This is my new platform when I run for office of whatever, the president of the United States. Is I can actually run now, right? I'm 37, so I'm actually old enough to run for president. The idea that we pitched it November 22nd, okay, that was this year. So the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, I should say.
Right.
Should be the beginning of the quote unquote holiday season, meaning that Thanksgiving and Christmas both fall into the holiday season. And that holiday season is winter, Christmas, Santa, all that stuff. Meaning,
the whole deal.
My dad listens to Christmas music on November 1st. That's too early. But I think Wednesday night. I can
tell you right now that Liz has had it on in our house since November 1st.
But Wednesday night,
she was taking down Halloween decorations when we got back from trick-or-treating.
Well, you just use the same tote in the basement. One has the Halloween decorations in it, Christmas decorations in it. Then you rotate it out. But no, the idea that even so, Thanksgiving was done. Friday, we set up my Christmas tree at my parents' house. So the holiday season already starts for a lot of people. I went and got my Christmas tree on Sunday. The holiday starts. So why not just shift it a couple of days? And because people come into town, and I'm not going to visit my parents for Christmas, right? I'm staying here in Maine, not going to Connecticut I did for Thanksgiving. So this is an opportunity. So I celebrate the holidays. I get to pick one of the two to celebrate with my family in Connecticut. The other one I'll celebrate with my family that's up here, and just continue. Just forget the whole separating them and having a pain in the butt people being like, oh, you can't put your Christmas tree up on Thanksgiving. It's too early. Just make them all one season. One big season.
It's the whole thing. You're in favor of this.
My brother goes. My brother goes. Why don't you put Halloween in there then too? I'm like, no, if that's pushing it. Halloween is not part of the holiday season. Okay.
All right, so I wouldn't not vote for you based on that. All right, let's go with that. I'm not offended by this presentation.
That's my only platform, though. Everything else, I don't know anything about. So if you want to know about
nothing else, what about the economy? What about
the economy? I don't know. No.
Getting control. I don't care.
No.
Yeah, you guys can figure this out. I just want the holiday season.
I want it to be okay. The whole deal. My wife's stepfather, so my father-in-law, came a couple weeks ago, and we were starting to slowly we weren't going to be around Thanksgiving. We have a 2-year-old. My wife's pregnant, so it's all these different things about taking our time putting up Christmas decorations. So we put up a couple of things a couple of weekends ago, and they came and visited like, you always already have Christmas decorations up? And I'm like, yes, that's not because we're like, let's go Christmas, hurry up. It's because of timing and just making it easier to put things up. So I don't want to be frowned upon. And people look at me if they came over for Thanksgiving, I had like a Christmas village set up. Like, no, it's the holiday season. It's the beginning of it. I drove to Connecticut on Wednesday morning in the snow. So here in New England, it is already winter holiday season. So
that's true. Yeah. We went to Wyndham Wednesday night, and it was raining, but there was still snow all on the side of the road going down yonder in southern Maine.
That's me and my over 37-year-old old man, venting here on Cave and Tights podcast. Get off my lawn. Get off the grass. I don't know if you ever saw Viva La Bam, but get off the grass. We're here to talk another movie review, which is funny because that's what you normally come on to do with me now. Yeah. But we will having soon. Honestly, I actually think the way these are going to air, I say air, like we're like a friggin' TV show or radio, is back-to-back weeks. So although we are going to record differently, because this is recording in November, and this is the fact that this will actually probably air or drop on December 20th. No, it isn't back-to-back weeks. I actually skipped it. Never mind, because I had to move our end-of-the-year comic book review thing is actually going to drop on the first Wednesday in January. So there's 1 week in between. Just because I added extra. Someone slid into that slot there, Paul.
That slot? Okay.
We're going to record the same time, but it's gonna push the record, so it's just January. It's only 3 days in, right?
Our
January 3rd.
In review will actually be in the new year.
Yeah, so we have to review comics that came out on January 3rd because that's the only date. No, it's only 2 days. Of the year.
You're going down the list like, oh man, that's a lot of DC stuff.
This will allow you to, Paul, though, because
the
of
only way Superman makes it on my list.
Because of that, though, this will allow you to actually include any comics books that came out on January or December 27th, because if we record, you know what I mean, like, so it actually finishes the year before this episode actually drops.
The whole thing.
So take that all back.
This year. I have my list going, and I've been working on it, and I've been like changing it, adding it. So I'm pretty proud of myself.
I have mine mostly done. I have probably
I
too many honorable mentions.
6 months ago. Yeah.
Too many.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair.
But we're not here to talk about that yet. We're here to talk about the best Christmas movie ever created. No.
We're talking about Die Hard?
Is a obscure Christmas movie for us, for most people. And this I think we'll talk. Yeah. We'll talk. Batman Returns is what we're talking. But we'll also chat on Christmas movies and what should be considered a Christmas movie in some sense and what shouldn't. And there's other comic book Christmas related movies that are kind of like, in your opinion, is a Christmas movie just something that happens during Christmas? Does it have to affect Christmas? Does it have to have Santa Claus in it? Does it have to have this? I personally think, and this is I'll go first on this, is that if it's obvious that it's happening during the Christmas season, then it's a Christmas movie. A lot of people consider horror movies around Halloween. They have nothing to do with Halloween. So why can't a Christmas movie be one that's like, okay, this movie takes place in Christmas? Die Hard, for example. Die Hard, he travels to California, right? To visit for the Christmas party. So that becomes a Christmas. There's no reason why that shouldn't be a Christmas movie. It happened. He traveled for Christmas.
And you actually get the Christmas, like the romance story. He's trying to spend it with his family and get back to his wife. He's trying to get the love back. It's almost a Hallmark movie, except he kills lots of terrorists.
Yes. This is Batman Returns is less of a Christmas movie, in my opinion, than Die Hard is.
Yeah. And it takes place at Christmas.
Yes. And that's, to me, I don't understand why that couldn't be. Would you consider a Halloween movie a movie that takes place during Halloween? Around Halloween? Yeah, I mean, right? I mean, that's a Halloween movie.
You know what I think makes this hard too is because it's a sequel, like where DD9 didn't take place during Christmas or anything, and this one just happens to all be around Christmas. But where it's a sequel, it also feels like, I don't know, less than, it's not like your traditional Christmas setup going.
Yes, but it's a Christmas movie. If you are a Batman fan, if you're a comic book fan, and you're looking to keep yourself in genre, but also watch something during the holiday season, you'd add this in there.
This could be your movie.
You honestly could add the Hawkeye TV series in there. You could put in there Iron Man 3 because that happens during. There's if you want to stay in that lane though, like that's like
folks, don't do that to yourself. Don't do that.
I don't think if you're looking for a traditional, I mean, even you're not going to likely watch Die Hard if you're looking for like the Coco wrap presents and want that Christmas feel. Like you wouldn't watch that movie. You'd watch Elf or Santa Claus or
Yeah.
Miracle on 34th Street or something like that. Those are those, yes. But this is in the genre. If you're a comic book fan, then you're gonna want to watch this.
The Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special, I think, has worked its way in now because my oldest loves it so much and stuff. But that's gonna be like a Christmas routine. But I have never watched Batman Returns specifically due to Christmas.
Christmas, yes.
Unlike so many other movies that we watch in like the Christmas season and stuff. So yeah, I could see, you could certainly argue this is a Christmas movie.
Yeah.
But as a person who has a pretty large collection of Christmas movies to watch every single year traditionally, this isn't in the list.
Yeah, like if I have a shelf on my wall of Christmas movies, Batman Returns is with Batman 89, not with the Christmas movies. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
And so it does really, it is. But one of the reasons I wanted to do this is because I wanted to start that discussion, and we could have just watched Die Hard, and then but this is in genre of comic books, Batman, so and so. It's all I wouldn't watch Batman that often. And first, let's back up. This should have just been called Catwoman. First of all, this is not Batman Returns. This is just Catwoman.
Yeah. Okay. So this was interesting to watch again now because I've talked about this before. When we do our reviews, I watch a movie in like a whole new like sense, like going through and paying attention to and this and that. So I grew up a diehard Batman fan, and I grew up like I was all in on this movie. Right? There's pictures of me at Christmas. I got my Catwoman shirt on, and there's like Batman posters, and I'm getting Batman Returns toys, and I was like 100% sold. I had all the McDonald's glasses, you name it. Mm-hmm. If it was Batman Returns merchandise property, I owned it, right? I mean, I was all in. And I am sure I must have been like 8 when this movie came out, 9, something like that. I'm sure that little 8-9-year-old Paul was arguing this was like the greatest movie to ever be made. And watching it now, I'm like, I got some issues with this movie. Like, I didn't think I was gonna, and I'm like, wow, all right, I have some problems with this. Like, for one, there is a lot of Catwoman and a lot of like random background stuff, and not really all that much Batman.
No, it's Batman and Penguin. Do you know what I mean? It's Batman and Penguin is the movie, and then it's like Batman. It's like a vessel. It's like the Batman versus Superman movie. Is like you're trying to decide whose movie is it. If you ask someone truthfully who doesn't, like, let's put the best Batman movies together, or let's rank all the Batman movies. Is it a Batman movie that features Superman, or is it a Superman movie that features Batman? Or does it end up on both lists? And I just feel like the villains in this movie were like more prominently displayed than Batman himself. And
Batman was just sort of like the tool that solved the problem.
Yes.
Than he was like any sort of feature on him. And you
look at the cast on this though. Like the cast is huge too. Like DeVito, Danny DeVito, Christopher Walken, Michael Keaton, Michelle Pfeiffer. Like what?
Well, this is another fun part of it that's interesting too. Is it like growing up, my uncle and I would discuss like action movies and discuss superhero movies and stuff like that. And like one of his pet peeves is like when they start over complicating with too many villains. Mm-hmm. And like this has 3 villains. We don't just have Penguin. We don't just have Catwoman. We have them along with Max, whatever his name is.
Shreck.
That's Shreck, yeah. Who's like a made up. He's not even in the Batman lore. He's just this like made up character that is. We
want Christopher Walken in this movie somehow.
And watching it, man, this is the most Tim Burton character of all time.
Oh yeah.
Like it was another one of those things. Like watching it now, an adult in this perspective of it, I'm like, wow. This guy is Tim Burton through and through. Like you can see it, the crazy eyes, the hair's all nuts. Yes. Like just 100%. There's still scenes in this movie I absolutely love. But I had some pretty serious plot problems with this movie that I never had as a kid.
Well, yeah, I know. It's also, I would consider this in a sense, in a weird way. Would you consider this somewhat of a horror movie too? Because like borderline horror, because it's dark, and he killed Christopher. Spoiler alert for a movie that came out in 1992. Everybody,
if you missed this,
Christopher Walken, Max Shreck kills Selina Kyle, Michelle Pfeiffer's character, by pushing her off the building, and she survives.
Throws out a window,
basically as a zombie in a sense. Like she's not like full on like Walking Dead zombie, but
she's not all there.
She's not all there, and she's definitely like he's like, "Are you okay?"
Like there was like a brain damage and something snapped.
Yes. But like that's horror to me in that sense. Penguin, living in the sewer and looking the way.
Living in the sewer.
all of that
Yeah. He
screams
eats the
horror
cat.
to
The
me.
opening
So like,
scene where he's born and then he eats the
yes,
cat.
but is that's
it's
but that's Tim Burton
dark
in a sense, because
yeah,
you think
Tim
about
Burton.
we talked about what's a Christmas movie. Is Nightmare
Yeah.
Before Christmas, even though it has it in the title, an actual Christmas movie? Is it a Halloween movie? Is it like a my wife and I consider it a Thanksgiving movie because we can watch it between Halloween and Christmas. It's like right
That's
in the
actually a
middle
good idea.
but like the idea
it's funny, my oldest will not watch that movie. It freaks her out.
but
She won't watch Nightmare Before
that's Tim
Christmas.
Burton for you. It's like he's never ever gonna make a straight ahead movie. I mean, all of his movies have this dark tone to it in this comedy and stuff like that, which is actually kind of funny. People go, this is so much like Nightmare Before Christmas is so much like no, this is so much like Nightmare Before Christmas, when they don't realize that this came out a year prior to Nightmare Before Christmas.
Right.
Batman Returns came out in 92 and Nightmare Before Christmas came out in 93. And so the fact that this movie is actually Nightmare Before Christmas is actually more like this than the opposite. But yeah. But no, I feel like it's like a horror movie too. It's a weird, it's definitely not, it's not a comic book movie.
You got the creepy circus stuff and
it is a comic book movie. It is a Christmas movie. It is a horror movie. It's all these things. And I think that speaks to what Tim Burton can also do. I feel like he has a very good talent.
It hits any genre you're looking for practically.
And it was
you got your romance in there.
Yes.
Your weird romance, by the way, that like as a kid, I'm like, oh, it's Batman, it's Catwoman.
Yeah.
But when you're watching this, you're like, why are these two, and why is Bruce Wayne and Selina like at all a thing? Like he meets her and she's completely off her rocker. She's like off in left field, and here's this billionaire playboy whatever that's also Batman. That's like, you know what? I think with my spare time, I'm gonna see if I can hook up with her.
Is it because if you think about it, from Batman Return or Batman, sorry, to the Batman 89 to this one with Vicky Vale, is Vicky Vale different? Is it like an opposite track? I mean, like he just had this this love interest in this person. Now I have this love interest, someone who's batshit crazy, no pun intended. That cat shit crazy. That's why that connection's there. That
right.
He feels like the mysterious part of it.
They sort of hint at that like she can see there's something that's not quite right with him, and he's obviously there's something not right with her. So that's sort of their appeal to one another, is that they can see this sort of like weird underlying dark tone to each other. But the romance in it was very quick and very forced. And yeah, I still think, so you get the scene with the Penguin coming out and all this and that, and Shreck and the opening scene of the big like package coming and it opens up.
Yeah.
That to me is still an awesome Batman action sequence scene. Like iconically awesome. The Batmobile comes in and like it's great. There's so many weird comic book things in this movie though, like the bat signal goes up and then they're like 4 bat signals all move at his house, and like nobody's ever comes over to Bruce Wayne's house and is like, hey, why are these giant spotlights that look like the bat symbol out here? Like,
that's the whole thing, and that's what, as a non-DC fan, non-Batman fan, I'm obviously gonna have a more of a gripe about this than potentially someone who is. But like the fact that half of his face is covered, there is no voice modulation, so you still hear Bruce Wayne's voice as Batman.
Yeah.
The fact that they were both in the same room together and something bad happens, and they both are trying to make excuses to leave, and neither one of them were like, this doesn't seem right.
Yes, this doesn't seem to add up right.
Like, my son, for some reason, it must be daycare, wanted to watch the Hannah Montana movie last night. And that to me reminded me a lot of the Clark Kent, that whole thing as well, where it's like, she's a blonde wig on, guys. That's literally all she has on. That's different than Miley Cyrus. And the guy like looking for her, like he's just like the guy's like searching for her, can't figure out the fact that he's like at a hoedown and she's singing on stage. She's like, he's not like, that voice sounds familiar. It's just like it's the same thing goes with this Batman thing. It's like there's at least Spider-Man has a full face mask that covers his entire face.
Kevin Conroy's Batman always sounded different.
Yes.
Bruce Wayne had this like a little bit higher pitch. It's like he faked his voice as Bruce Wayne.
But
when he was Batman,
if you did a voice, Paul, though, if you dressed up in a hockey mask and did a voice, I'd still probably be able to be like that, especially the
Still
people
be
who are
able to
super
tell.
close to them. Like I can understand
Right.
someone who met you for the first time might not put the two and two together. You know, Paul also fights crime at night. He also owns a comic book shop. There's a comic book story for you right there.
Yeah, there you go.
But there's also like Bruce Wayne, the people who are close to him
Yeah.
don't. And I guess
Although
that's what we talked
not
about
that
before.
many, but you would think.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also
We talk,
realized in this movie how sort of small Michael Keaton looks as Batman.
yes, yes. Is
Like
he
I
your
feel like
favorite
the first
Batman?
movie covered it up more. Uh yeah, I think still
I
from my
mean, I
childhood he's
guess
probably still my
live action, I
favorite.
should say. Live action,
Yeah,
probably,
he's probably
because
yeah for live action, it's probably still him. I actually thought Robert Pattinson did a good job as
yeah, oh
Batman.
yeah, yeah. Is it
I
too
liked his
soon though
Batman.
to say that he's your favorite? Like if he has a couple more
Yeah,
movies and he kills it
yeah,
in a couple more movies, then you can say
I'd like
that.
to
But
see a
yeah,
few more. Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I would say if you're going live action, like Ben Affleck wasn't a bad Batman. It's
no,
just all
I
his
don't think
movies
so
were
either. Yeah,
trash.
yeah.
Like his movies
Kevin
were terrible.
Conroy is
Ben Affleck
to
wasn't
me.
bad.
Kevin Conroy
Kevin
is
Conroy is
Batman,
Batman.
but other than
Yes,
that, it's
100%.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
That's
if you
good.
go live action, I'd probably go Michael Keaton. Yeah,
But
I would
Michael
love to
Keaton's
see
small.
the idea that they're doing with this, like Michael Keaton is the retired Batman, and we do a Batman Beyond movie. Like I would, God, I would love that.
Too bad. I just
Um,
wish we could have done something with Kevin alive.
hmm
So Kevin Conroy could have done some sort of
yes,
like even a voice of something or a voiceover of a Batman or something. So you could have put like a Batman like across the universe, kind of thing with
yeah.
Batman, with old Batman, young Batman, cartoon Batman. I don't know. It would have been cool to see all that in one thing. But is that's one thing you can do, kind of like they did for Spider-Man. It's like we have had all these iterations of Spider-Man, so why not
Hmm.
do something together? And that's something I don't know. I don't. DC doesn't know what they're doing. They can't get their head out of their ass over there anyway. But we're
No,
talking back
no,
when
not
they.
really.
This is all beginnings of things. This is the '90s. This is when
This was when Marvel was not doing so well,
no
and
Man
these
Thing came
Batman
out
movies were
around.
coming out, and yeah, right. And Batman was like, this was amazing, and it swept the nation. It was everywhere. Um, so going through this movie, yeah, I had some issues. I like the circus and all that.
Yeah,
The characters in that are going around are cool. The live penguins are getting a bit much. Like
yep,
watching it,
yeah.
yeah, it's like a little over the top. Danny DeVito's phenomenal.
I think he's great.
It's
He's such a phenomenal actor in general. Like the
now that
wide
I'm older.
variety of things he's played and done, it's unbelievable.
Oh God, yeah. Now that I'm older, I prefer the like crime boss penguin over the like mutant
Yeah,
penguin, where this is like he's definitely off. You know what I
he
mean? Not only does he have the flippers, but he's got like the teeth and eating the raw fish and the like weird black stuff coming out of his mouth all the time and
he has this
whatever.
not. I don't have a you don't have a fear for him for being a villain. You have a fear for him because he's mentally unstable. Like you don't have. It's
Yeah,
not like what I mean. Like it's not like if you walked up to someone on the street who was a villain, you'd be like, oh shit, I gotta hide. You also kind of feel that way because you don't know what a person with a mental instability has. You're still as a person walking in the street, you might step a few steps up to the left a little bit because you don't know if it's the person's gonna jump at you or do
yeah. He
something.
might randomly just attack you for the sake of
That's what
it.
I feel like the fish eating thing. It's just a mental instability, a mental thing that's not like, and he turned into a villain because of this. But I don't like. It's not like Joker, who's harming people, and he's also mentally unstable too. But he's more of a strong, in your face villain. This guy just is just crazy.
Yeah,
Been a sewer
yeah.
for a long
Well, and
time.
like so, like the Joker. One of the dangerous things about the Joker is you're never really sure
Yeah,
is he insane or is he like super sane? Like
yeah,
because he can put together these plots and these plans that add up to things. Where like this like version of the Penguin is probably not going to be this big crime boss that does all that
yeah.
necessarily. He's just completely off. Like who
Mm-hmm.
knows what he's going to do, and that makes it dangerous because you can't anticipate it. So I love this version. It's not really my favorite version of Penguin
No, yeah.
anymore or anything, but it was it's cool. But yeah, the live penguins and all that gets to be a bit much. But the circus guys are cool. You do
He's circus
wonder
good.
like how they hide in a zoo in a sewer, and like these guys all went missing. Like you get into like Bruce is looking in
Yeah,
the past, and they all go missing and this and that, and no one's been down there. By the way, their sewers are huge.
yeah. The
Holy
sewers
crap!
are huge.
That opening scene of the of
Yeah,
after they throw the baby in and it's going through and it's like
yeah.
you guys got a lot of runoff or something. What do you need a sewer system this big for?
Yeah,
that's that. The Ninja Turtles, like the Terradrome, could drive through there.
Yeah,
the Technodrome.
Did yeah, the villain part was for some reason was Catwoman in slash Max Shreck not enough of a characters that they had to bring in the Dan DeVito story. Like, we have done with one or the other? Like, could we have not had Catwoman and still had?
I think you could have gotten more accomplished in the plot if we
Yeah.
had stuck to just her and Max Shreck, because realistically, like Catwoman's in there, and you have like the romance side could have been done more of like what is going on between Selina and Bruce versus like they're together on screen time. I would say must have only been a few minutes realistically.
Yeah.
So you could have dove more into this like when they realize who each other is, then it would make more relevance
out of it because
like
they didn't have enough to make it seem anything more
honestly,
than like
Max Shreck's a pretty good villain as far as like you want to see him get it. Like he's a terrible person as a whole. You know, he's like
I bet it was more impactful in 1992 than it was now, because after when you watch Christopher Walken now, you then add in all of the other roles that he's played over time, and to me, I'm just like, all I want to hear is more cowbell. And like it's like, okay, at the time Christopher Walken was probably looked upon as different than he is now. This is a Tim Burton movie. He's got a little bit of a makeup on his face. He's got the crazy hair and all that stuff. You're just like, I want to laugh at his character, not as much fear his character.
It's funny because I can see the Max Shreck, and then he played the Headless Horseman.
Yep.
In Tim Burton's,
Sleepy Hollow.
Thank you. But he was excellent in Sleepy Hollow. Just terrifying, and I feel like you see the craziness, and I loved him. He played in another action movie with Bruce Willis, and he was really good as a villain in that too.
Yeah.
So I can see the crazy Max Shreck thing, and he's this he's only out for himself, and he doesn't really care about the actual people of Gotham. He's building the power plant that's actually not a power plant.
Yes.
Also, that way he can, I don't know, screw over the city, make more money, and supposedly leave it for his only son.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we probably could have left the whole Penguin story arc out and gotten a lot more about Catwoman and what she's doing and why she's doing it, besides the fact that she's nuts, besides the fact she got thrown out a window.
And I only say that because I feel like there is this sense that I don't think a lot of us or people look at movies. I look at them a little differently now just by looking at them more in depth. Not to say that we're perfect or I'm perfect at looking at movies. Is I see things more as we've seen in the genre that we like, which is comic books and things like that. That like we've seen the opportunity of someone, this new Fantastic Four movie that came out a couple of years ago. They were hoping to get 3 movies, 4 movies, or whatever out of it. When you're going into filming or going into writing and you're getting ready to make this movie, you're like, this could be our only shot. So I want to do this story and this story and this story. So I've got to push them all into one. But at the moment that this movie came out, Batman 1989 came out, was made for like 40-something, 50-something million dollars and made almost $500 million. So you're talking like that. The return on investment on that movie was drastically good. This movie should have just been like, we're likely going to get a third out of this. There's no real reason. I mean, we had all these movies that were doing trilogies and things like that, the Star Wars and the Indiana Jones and the Back to the Futures. All those movies were getting the third movie. And so why not, why push too much story into this thing? I don't think it ruined it. There's definitely movies where it ruined it. I do think it worked. Yeah. I do think this is up there with me as a favorite, up there with the favorite Batman movies. Like it is a top 5 Batman movie in my opinion, I think.
Oh yeah. But
this almost could be top 2-ish, top 3 if it didn't have
if they just cleaned it up some.
Yes, they cleaned it up a little bit.
Cleaned it up some. I think a Catwoman Batman story would have been more interesting than a Batman Penguin story.
Or why not just a Catwoman story?
Yeah.
I mean, as much as I didn't want, I'd like having Michael Keaton in there and Batman, and I don't think they should have done that. They could have gone that route where it was like Penguin's there and had a little bit of Batman in it, like pops of him as cameos, and just made it a Catwoman story. And then the third movie or a third movie didn't have to be, could have been more of them getting together or something along those lines.
You could have had Catwoman, Catwoman fighting Shreck and Penguin. There was some, they could have cleaned up some of this. Yeah. So my overall largest problem with this movie that I found, and I think I just sort of overlooked it as a kid, but now, how did a pile of circus clown criminals that are obviously base level criminals find blueprints to the Batmobile and or make them, that the technology doesn't exist outside of Bruce, like it's only his, and then be able to go, and might I add, they pulled wire out. Like my time in automotive tells me that there's miles of electrical pieces inside a vehicle, and these guys have yanked it all out. It's all over the place. And what you would assume would be like low educated criminals were able to make blueprints for a Batmobile, take the Batmobile apart on the side of the road, reassemble the whole thing and take control of it. That is a real serious problem.
It is
like real serious issue.
Yes.
Like, and there was no description, there was no explanation. It's just like, oh, my friends are at it, and you look over in the corner and there's like schematics of a Batmobile on the wall. And you're like, I don't think Bruce flushed them, because that's supposedly how the Penguin found everything that he's managed to find. Basically, was living in the sewers in his time. I don't think that the Batmobile blueprints were like, oh, we're done with these. It's
like, oh crap, about toilet paper.
Yeah,
toilet paper. Let's get the blueprints for the.
We'll just use those. But
that's my whole.
None of that added up.
But that's my whole plot hole in the Batman lore in TV and movies that they kind of fixed in Batman Begins, with the idea that they have someone helping him make this technology. And so he wouldn't even have him in Batman Begins. Morgan Freeman's character has these blueprints and things like that.
Yeah, Lucius. Yeah.
He wouldn't have. Yeah. He wouldn't have them at the Manor.
No, I mean, he might, for the sake of once Lucius has got them.
It would have been. It would have been more ideal if he had like a little sketch, like on a napkin.
Yeah.
And an idea of how you get the Batmobile apart and back together, but not full on. This is where the screw goes and things like that.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, it would have been more likelihood that he's just in the toilet taking a dump and he's like sketching out like, what do I want the Batmobile to look like? And then they flush that, and then that's how. But it's still paper,
right?
So how
it would have been ruined anyway.
But those are the plot holes I think that we all wait and expect in comic book movies, and that's that whole thing with like, you say this we should believe the fact that the Penguin could survive in the sewer eating raw fish.
Yeah, he didn't die as a child.
He's also extremely plump.
Yeah,
for a guy that eats out of the sewer.
Yeah, he's a
he's not eating McDonald's cheeseburgers. He's eating
a lot of McDonald's grease. A lot of McDonald's grease down there.
Yeah. He's not eating these things that you'd expect him to eat to gain weight and things like that. He would be a skinny person. He'd be what they were expecting to do in Gotham. Where in Gotham, Cobblepot is more skinny and creepy and frail looking. I feel like that's what I would get more of a Penguin living in the sewer than I would
actually living in the sewer.
Yeah. But I mean, other than that, I mean, there are these. I feel like we can pick apart any movie. Like I said, there's no to say what I said last time we talked about it. We were talking about this next time was. This is still the best movie we've watched as a tandem in these superhero related movies or comic book related movies, because this actually is a good movie. It's worth watching over and over and over again.
It's enjoyable.
Not saying you have to watch it during Christmas, but like it's here's the deal. Watch Batman Return or Batman 1989 sometime in November, and then watch Batman Returns sometime in December, just to watch it during the Christmas season. It doesn't have to be like this. Like I said, don't
because it's fun to watch.
Dudes out there, don't look at your wife and be like, hey, we're going to set the Christmas tree up and we're going to put Batman Returns on. Don't do that. Watch a Christmas movie or a Christmas movie. What I will say is that there is, right off the bat, there's a Christmas tree in the background, the package, the snow. Yeah, so right off the beginning, it starts off with that Christmas related theme.
It's the fun music to see the snow. The scenes of the Batmobile driving through the snow is phenomenal.
Awesome. Especially us who live in New England.
Yeah,
that's like so screams beautiful. Winter and Christmas for us. Like it's amazing. The music by Danny Elfman. First of all, Danny Elfman is one of the best composers in the entire world. But it's Christmas feeling. If you pull if you put that on, I think someone would go, "Is this Christmas music?" Even though it's not designed to be Christmas music, I think that the music itself, as you get through the music playing when Penguin's in the sewer and things like that, it has this twinkle, this Christmassy, snowy kind of feel to it. So like it brings the movie feels Christmassy as I'm watching it. Again, even more, I believe Die Hard is a Christmas movie. Even more than Die Hard, it has this feel of Christmas going on, because in Die Hard, once like they're at the party and Hans starts to take over again. Spoiler.
For anyone who hasn't seen Die Hard, which I gotta tell you, if you haven't seen Die Hard, shame on you.
the spoiler of not he's taking over the tower. It's like basically every once in a while you see him like run through a room. There's a Christmas tree in the background, but it's really not until the end where it's more like getting together as a family and all that stuff. So like this has that more feel because of Danny Elfman and Tim Burton's directing. Dana Waters, along with Sam Hamm, wrote this movie too. Sam Hamm wrote Batman 1989. So the writer for Batman 1989 helped co-write this movie too, which makes sense in that sense.
It definitely has the same feel as the Batman 89 movie.
Yeah. Yes,
like it's
which
very
is nice,
good
which I like. And the scene,
completing it,
because I felt like Batman Begins had a similar feel to Batman the Dark Knight, but Dark Knight and Dark Knight, those two had more of a feel of being cohesive movies together than the first and the second movie of the Dark Knight trilogy.
Right.
And so like this movie makes sense that it feels like it goes together, and then it just drops off a cliff.
Yeah, it's so sad that the third movie because Tim Burton was working on the third Batman movie, and it's so sad that like it didn't continue. Like it was, from what I gather, it was really in the works when all of a sudden they changed. I can't remember who the director was for the third and fourth. They changed everything.
Yeah, it was
and personal opinion, not for the better.
The second, that was Joe Schumacher. What?
Joe Schumacher. That's what I thought it was, but I didn't want to.
And then
misquote.
Batman and Robin was also Schumacher. So these are these two first ones kind of were felt together, and that's why the second two kind of felt together too. Even though the boy that Bruce Wayne saves is in his 40s. We don't have time to go into that.
So many problems.
But again, I said
we could watch later down the road for a terrible B-rated movie. We could watch Batman and Robin. Like
I'd want to say Batman Forever and Batman and Robin together. And then discuss the two.
We could do that because people. It's funny. I finally met someone who like loves Batman and Robin. Loves it. Went to the theater. He saw it in theater 9 times, more than any other movie. He said.
Why?
Well, and when he started
talk about a movie with too many characters in it too,
and just bad. He explained it that he grew up on 66 Batman.
Okay.
The Adam West, the corny, the cheesy, the goofy. So for him, it was all of his childhood Batman stuff redone in this new flashy version.
Yeah.
Because boy, is it corny and cheesy and hokey. This is my Batman. Like I grew up on the 89 Batman. To me, Batman was dark. Batman, this Batman kills criminals. Like I'm pretty sure the guy that got the fireball from the back of the Batmobile probably didn't survive that.
No, I mean they're not showing people get decapitated, but you know, and if you're watching this movie,
people probably And in the 89 movie, like he's annihilating an awful lot of these dudes. Well, you could get into like Batman didn't kill him, the explosion killed him. Batman caused the explosion. It's like there's a lot of criminals that are probably dead from him. And
that I didn't kill the person, the poison that I gave the person killed the person. It wasn't me.
Yeah, you get into
I wrote that as one of my notes.
Should have left.
That I didn't say. It was right after all the music feels creepy Christmas feel. I wrote more graphic than the original Batman's. Like, so you think of even Batman 89, this is more graphic than that one, and this is obviously more graphic than Adam West Batman. Like this is far, like this is a change in direction. That
he's got that big muscle bound dude. He puts the bomb on and pitches over the side, and that guy explodes. Like,
and that's what I think what we saw between like Doctor Strange and Doctor Strange 2: Multiverse of Madness. Like you saw this this whole like deep dark creepiness to it, and that this one has. I will say though, that one problem I've always had with everything that's 1989 Batman and all this stuff is these sets that they're in driving the streets look like sets on a movie studio.
They look like a comic book. They look like a movie set. Yeah. And it's funny because at one point I had watched, I became obsessed with the Heath Ledger Joker, the Batman, and all of that was filmed in, I think, Chicago, and it's all like actual real places. And I went back and watched 89 and I had that man, this looks corny and goofy. But then the more I get into the comic book sense of it, it's source material. It looks like the Gotham you see in the comics and stuff. It's always sort of dark. It's always got the buildings are these fantastic, over the top stuff. So I sort of enjoy it again now, going back through. It definitely does not look real.
Well, I mean, the Dark Knight trilogy, they actually made characters go out in the day.
Yeah.
It's dark 24 hours a day in Gotham City in these Batman movies from the 80s and 90s.
Yeah, during the day, no crime doesn't take place. There is nothing. Nothing happens.
They don't even go out. They're like they're all nocturnal. I think they all do things at night, and then they sleep during the day. They work night shifts. Batman Night Shift is the next thing I'm gonna create out there. But you're right. But one of the things I will say,
the poor guy that just runs a bodega in Gotham is like, oh man,
this
day there's nothing.
1989 and this definitely were more realistic looking than when they got to Forever. Forever to me was just like everything seemed over the top, hokey, and
it was funny because I saw that as a child, and as a child was like, what the hell is happening right now? The neon, the glowing, and all of the criminals being like so over the top in those movies. Like,
it was trying to make it a real, like, it's like taking a live action. It's like when they did the live action Lion King to me. I hate how
it's like we're trying to make a cartoon live action, right?
Yeah,
like and that they almost like we can make this look like a cartoon is the goal.
And I think it backfired because for me personally, I'll read a comic book. I'll watch the animated Batman stuff if I want that Batman. I don't care if you give me a little bit. Like I said, this Batman Returns has this. Okay, you feel like it's a comic book movie. It's not realistic. This is a fake thing. Okay, cool. Run with it. But when you go too far into we're trying to get this to look comic booky, is then going, I don't want that then. I'll just read the comic book. I don't need to read, like this.
This still has like it is the dark. It is like these characters are trying to kill one another.
Yes.
They don't care about things. These criminals don't care about the well-being of others. There's blood. I mean, you see Batman's injured and hurt and he's bleeding. Like, it's all very much more real than the next group of Batman movies. It's just over the top, ridiculous. Well, there's bat nipples. And just, when you get to bat nipples, that's pretty much sums it all up.
I see his bat print in his G-string there too. No, kidding. Mushroom print.
How much Batman marketing did you need on your costume? Aren't you just like going to fight crime? Like, you're not selling a brand. He's gonna be pumping up the Batman Air Jordan, just everything. Oh, it's so bad.
What did I just read? I was reading a book.
George Clooney pulls out that friggin' Batman credit card.
Yeah. I was just reading. I'm reading the book Secret Santa by Andrew Schaefer. It's a comedy horror Christmas book, and it's has like some feel of The Office in it in a sense, but it's a Secret Santa gift that mysteriously gets given to someone, whatever. And they were talking about in the book about how Secret Santa is an anonymous thing that you're not supposed to know. And the person responds back to her, goes, so is AA. But at the beginning of AA, they had you announce who you are to the entire group. And I was like, oh my God, I've never thought of it that way ever. When someone's like, like you always book club, when we're always like, hi, my name is Justin and I'm an out. I was like, oh my gosh, I understand their theory is that it's anonymous, that you're going to other people outside of the group. But in the same sense, I'm like, but maybe you might know someone in there or someone might know your name so maybe it should just be anonymous. That you shouldn't be like, hi, I'm Justin. You should be like anonymous. It's like, that's funny. I never thought of it that way. Alcoholics Anonymous. They announce who they are at the beginning of every single one.
That is funny.
But I was like, okay. And this Batman's like, you're supposed to be this secretive person. And like, I'm waiting for the Batman to have like a neck tattoo of the Batman symbol. Be like, no, that's not me. That's not me.
No,
don't worry.
No, definitely not. Yeah, but there's a lot of crazy cornball stuff in this, but still takes itself much more serious than the next series of Batman movies.
Yes, it's not the best Batman, but it's definitely by far not the worst Batman in my opinion. And I think it does have that Christmas feel that categorizes this way more than other Christmas.
I think if you want nothing else, if you watch this, like you had said, purely for the soundtrack and for some of the imagery in it, you got it right there. Like, it's a win just for that.
So we'll have a post, obviously recording this earlier than it's being released. But we'll have a post on capesandtights.com. If you want, we have a section actually for some reason for the holidays. I've done this last year, but it's capesandtights.com/Christmas, and it has a bunch of Christmas related things, Christmas comics to read, Christmas books, movies, TV, all that stuff. But one of the things we have is a list of comic book or superhero related Christmas movies. And there's also shows, but I feel like TV shows take place over a period of time. And so I feel like every comic book related TV show, Arrow, Flash, all of them had a Christmas episode. Right. So it's kind of hard to be like somewhere in there. But like, honestly, the Shazam movie takes place during Christmas.
Oh my God, it does. Yeah, you're right. I kind of forgot about that. You're talking
Iron Man, like I mentioned before. Yeah. I had other ones too. I don't remember what they were. Spider-Man.
I sort of forgot that
Hawkeye TV show. The Hawkeye show, the whole show takes over for Christmas play for a time. Yeah. But that also leads into No Way Home. I believe has a Christmas scenes in it. Batman Returns. I mentioned that. Yeah. Into the Spider-Verse takes place during Christmas. Weird. The first one, Into the Spider-Verse. Yeah, I mentioned Shazam. So there is a few Christmas movies in there that are also comic book related movies. Again, this is not talking like you're talking your traditional.
I think
Christmas.
this is the closest to a Christmas movie of any of them, besides the Guardians of the Galaxy one. Yes, that was literally the Guardians of the Galaxy and Christmas special.
I'm guessing.
But I think this is probably the one that's the most Christmassy of all of it.
I'm guessing What If is coming out December 22nd for 9 episodes straight. Not every day there's gonna be a new one.
Some sort of Christmas stuff.
The poster's Christmassy, so I'm guessing they'll have something in there that's Christmas related. But I don't know for sure. But yeah, I would say so. Iron Man 3, as much as you don't like that movie, would be the Marvel equivalent, I think, of this in the sense of it being holiday related, because there is.
I would much rather watch this than Iron Man.
Yes, 3. I know you would. But there's like they go into the bar to get to meet that person who has the extremis thing, and that there's a Christmas tree in the background. It's snowing, the kid's celebrating Christmas. Right. At the end, he gives the kid a Christmas present, which is the new robot stuff and all that stuff. So like, it definitely has that Christmas feel. You're talking, like I said, the Hawkeye has that Christmas. Shazam has that Christmas feel. Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special, obviously. But those are the ones that definitely would make the cut on that list of Christmas movies. But the number one Christmas movie out there, though, what is your favorite Christmas movie that you do? Here's the deal. What's your most rewatchable Christmas movie? Because there's definitely
my
good Christmas movie.
My favorite Christmas movie, most rewatchable Christmas movie is The Christmas Story.
Okay.
The story, I don't know, it gets me with like the kid growing up and wanting this present and his dad getting it for him when like mom wouldn't. I definitely feel like my stepfather is like military and he's very like, I don't know, he did the best he could raising me, but he didn't understand me the way like other people did. But he would get me gifts periodically that meant a lot and still mean a lot to me because it came from him. So that movie always gets me. So that's my favorite Christmas movie. I absolutely love Elf, and I love Christmas movies. I love Elf. I love Christmas Vacation. I mean, there's so many Christmas movies I absolutely love. However, The Christmas Story is mine. That's my favorite.
So I have a mixture of just what I watched because I think because it came out right around when I was, as a younger kid. Is the Santa Claus with Tim Allen has always been up there for me, along with Home Alone and those ones. But like that movie, I don't know if there's something about the whole idea that it explains the Christmas lore in a cool way.
Santa Claus is real. And he becomes Santa, and they get deep into the whole.
Yes. Well, I like the thing I like the most about your pick versus my pick is the fact that yours is Christmas gift related, like Christmas morning, Christmas presents, Christmas that, and mine is the Santa Claus story related, meaning that like there's different sides to that stuff,
two very different aspects about it,
and then Batman Returns just happens during Christmas.
There's still this. The end scene where he gets the cat and he picks the cat up in the snow. Like, and it was almost like it doesn't say it, but I think he says Merry Christmas to Alfred. Yep. And it's like that was almost like a gift to Bruce from her.
Yeah.
Because you see her shadow and he stops, and then at the very end of it she stands up and you see her looking out over the city. Like, I get a nice little Christmas piece in there. Like, why not?
My argument is if this movie and Die Hard are not Christmas movies, then neither is Home Alone. Because Home Alone
100%.
could have happened on Easter weekend. It could have happened for summer vacation. It could have happened all these things. I know people were like, they purposely went away for Christmas. I'm like, but they could have gone away on any vacation. It just happened to be during Christmas.
It just happened because
it's a Christmas
you
movie.
could have had that during Thanksgiving. It could have been just like Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, except it's Kevin getting left at home.
Yes. So yes, 100%. There is this thing that I believe it's a Christmas movie. It definitely is a Christmas movie. My whole point is if someone believes that Home Alone is, then they have to even entertain the idea that this and something.
You sort of should be accepting that Die Hard also is.
Correct.
And so could Batman Returns.
So I will say that out of a 5-star ranking, that this person over here will give this 3.5 Christmas trees.
Very nice.
3.5 stars. I don't
3.5
think
Christmas stars,
because I don't think there is a 5 Batman movie for me. I think that like Dark Knight is my favorite Batman movie, and I think that even came out as a 4 or 4.5. And I just haven't. There isn't this like. I mean, if that's the epitome, in my opinion, of Batman movies. Heath Ledger's Joker is absolutely phenomenal. I know you don't like Christian Bale, but at least.
My biggest.
People don't watch The Dark Knight though. But people don't watch The Dark Knight to watch Batman. They're watching that for Heath Ledger's Joker. In that,
you're watching it for Heath Ledger.
Yeah,
because Christian Bale's Batman's just not very interesting to me. I just don't, and I don't particularly like Christian Bale.
And then I like Batman 89 better than this, and so on and so forth. So there has to be a spot where this has to fall into, and I don't do like 3.75 or 3.8, 3.9. 3.5 is it's better than average, but not as good as 89 and not as good as Dark Knight in my opinion.
I think I would fall in the same point scale. Like as a kid, I probably would have said that this was like higher, like my nostalgia and growing up with it, and I know like my die-hard like childhood love of this movie. Watching it now as an adult and going on and looking at everything else that's been out from Batman movies and this and that, I'd say 3.5 is probably a fair scale. Yes,
I think so too.
I would say watch this movie. Garrett's watched this movie. No. He still hasn't watched 89 because when I told him to go watch Batman 89, he thought that's what this was until about halfway through he realized this was a sequel. Which, by the way, buddy, Returns should have probably hinted at that for you.
Well, Returns. It's not the TV show Batman. It's not Adam West Batman. It's the Return. No, Cinescore polls. That's one of the ones they give on like Wikipedia and things like that. Gave it a B on the A+ to F scale, so I can understand that a little bit. It's definitely one of those ones that fits right in the.
It's watchable. It has its moments.
Rotten Tomato. I just had it open to it. Rotten Tomatoes had it at a. Did I put it on my notes? I did not put it on my notes. I usually put it on my notes, but Rotten Tomatoes.
I looked.
Returns.
It was like a high mid, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it's so Batman Returns puts it at a 81, which again I think in that if you did a relation to that, it's right at 3.5. Yeah, right there. Audience scores at 75, so that's a 75%ish there. And so it is one of those ones that people are like, this is a good movie. There's not like you're not gonna say this is one. It's not up for awards of all time, but it's also not an unwatchable movie. And so that's having a 3.5 is actually not a crazy score. I think there's definitely people who this is their favorite Batman movie. I mean, it's gonna be
I'm sure. And like, I mean, like I said, I saw this in theaters, and I bet if you saw this in theaters as a kid and you like the 89 had come out and you didn't see that one, and then you saw this one, this could be your favorite Batman. In the imagery in this movie, and the circus guys really get me because they're really pretty cool. Like all these different circus villains, and like the guy in the big skull helmet with the googly eyes thing. Like the imagery of this movie is fantastic. I can see somebody saying this is their favorite.
And we said, I mean, Max Shreck, Christopher Walken, you have your Michael Keaton, who's one of the better Batmans that's ever happened. Michelle Pfeiffer was great, and so was Danny DeVito. So you have those characters all kicking butt in a movie that you'd like. If you think back on it, that's an all-star cast. Every single one of them did their job. I just think that there was some, like I said, there's some plot holes in there somewhere. The fact, the one thing I didn't bring up, which I want to finish off with here, is Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman suit would be impossible to get into by yourself. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it's skin tight.
Yeah, it's cool that like you see her like make this, and I love the scene where she's in the car and she's like got the mask in her mouth and she's rooting through a person while Batman's like getting dressed perfectly downstairs in the Batcave with all this, like she's fishing this thing that's falling apart out, and he's got like multiple costumes to pick from.
Yeah.
But yes, that thing is skin tight. You wouldn't. Like,
and it's also sewn together in a way that I feel like if you were to try to put it on yourself, that you rip it some more. I mean, if you put on a sweatshirt or a jersey, something that's too tight, and you're like, you hear that, you're like, oh, I just ripped the seam out somewhere, and it just loosened a little bit or whatever. But it's definitely one of those things that you're like, oh, that's not very good. You know, you put on something you haven't put on for a while, and you bend over, you're like, ugh. That's sewn together in a way that would definitely tear apart. And you probably know this too, have helped our better halves put something on, zip something up that wasn't as tight as this.
Yeah.
And we had to help them put that on, let alone seeing, unless she had to figure out a way to zip up the back of it. And it's like a hook on the wall that she's able to like put her neck on and like drop down to the ground so that she can zip it up. And or maybe the cat's helped her.
She's definitely not putting it on in the car.
No, unless she has a cat, so like the cats come out of nowhere and like put everything together.
What else it would have been interesting to get into is like, so there's the phone. She's doing martial arts, she's doing gymnastics, she's doing all of this stuff, she's using the whip. That is a lot of trained abilities that we never got of how she can do any of this. Mm-hmm. Like, you never got any of that. But no, the cat suit, yeah, that looks problematic. The one in the newer movies looks a lot more like reasonable to put on. It's got the zipper. She puts it in. One suit, you know. It probably could have been used for something. You could have said it was like a motorcycle costume or something.
Yeah.
Like it was one you use for another purpose somewhere. Versus this thing that she makes is not. Like,
that's
a fine call out.
Yeah. Yes, but it's cool. I like it. It's better than Halle Berry.
It looks awesome.
That's a whole other discussion. But it's Christmas season. Watch this movie. We'll be doing. The plan is to do, and things change, so don't hold us to this on this podcast. And you listen to this far and go, oh, they didn't do that next month or the next month after. Is to do the TV pilot Generation X next in the beginning.
Oh boy,
or some point in the new year. That your wife will be like, why is Justin making you watch this again?
Why? Yeah. What are you watching now? Why have I never heard of this? If this is a Marvel thing, and I'll be like, because it's awful.
It's terrible. It's gonna be probably one of the worst that we've watched so far. That's saying something. And so and going in there, and we'll also have our comics of the year coming up here, which I'm pretty excited about. That kind of stuff going on there. And if you're looking for a last minute Christmas gifts and you live in the Bangor area, because this is going to drop on the 20th of December, and that's too soon for you to ship anything. But if you live in the greater Bangor area and listening to this episode, Galactic Comics and Collectibles in Bangor, Maine has a bunch of cool stuff, including some signed book plates on some graphic novels and trades that are in the shop. So,
awesome creators. Yes. Yeah, and
so check that out.
Galactic Comic Collectible gift cards.
Oh, yeah. That's always good.
And right on the website.
If you want to buy me one, that's great. If you want to, help support,
you should just stop by and support Justin's habits.
Yeah. And if you want to buy Paul something, you can go to Owner Brewing Company and buy him a gift card
support my
there.
Habits. That works.
So it's both. If you're looking for Christmas gifts to get your favorite people in the world, right here on Capes and Tights. No, we have some cool ones coming up too. We got some cool people coming in the new year. Next week is Ryan Cady and Andrea Muti of Haunt You to the End, coming on the podcast from Top Cow.
I just ordered the trade paperbacks for that,
which has an awesome pull quote on the back of it.
So. Yeah,
it's a great pull quote on the back of that one.
Some guy got printed again.
So that's coming out at the beginning of the new year, which is awesome. So we're putting that episode out ahead of time of that, as well as we're working on doing some more stuff with authors this year too. So we got some cool authors coming on in the beginning of the year. Jesse Lumberg is going to come on and chat his stuff. One of our friends, Jesse, we met up with at the Bangor Comic and Toy Con, as well as he's doing some other cool stuff out there, and so on. So for some other people trying to get on the podcast. Yeah, it's end of 2023 here, buddy, and we'll have our comic books of the year coming up here pretty soon. I'm excited. Going into 2024, it's going to look cool. I don't know how the comic book industry is going to look, but it'll be different.
I think you're right. I think it's going to look like Marvel books start at $5.
Oh my gosh, that was horrible this week. I'm sorry. I'll put that out there. I could say that. It was, there was, what did I get? Like, I don't know, 6 or 7. Marvel books, and 5 out of the 6 or 7 were $4.99, and one of them was $3.99.
There was one for $3.99, and I think the other like 6 or 7 or whatever.
And they weren't, and it wasn't even like number ones or whatever. They were like 39 and 26 and whatever. It was these random books, and I'm like, I understand maybe they're making them longer, but it's just gonna be the price of things. I feel like you're gonna just alienate some people for me to be like, Paul, stop ordering as many Marvel comics and give me some of those indies for $3.99. And Todd McFarlane still selling his for $2.99.
$2.99.
But sweet. Well, Merry Christmas to everybody who celebrates. Happy Hanukkah, happy holidays, all those things to everybody. We're an 100%. Inclusive podcast here. But in Merry Christmas to you, Paul. I'll see you before then. But for those who don't know, we see each other every week. Merry Christmas. Like I won't
sometimes
see you
multiple times a week.
Lately, I've been so busy. I haven't been in like once a week, but it'll change. That's true. But we'll see. But I will see you tomorrow night for book club.
Book club.
Talking Naughty List. So thanks, Paul.
Thank you. Merry Christmas, guys.